Hi everybody, welcome back to another music masterpiece, and we are going back to one of my favourite eras when I was still working out music and working out how things worked and put together. And before I get into this artist and get into this song, and I was growing up, this man genuinely scared me, and I think he encapsulated everything unusual in this era. And when this song came out, I just was completely and utterly blown away by it. Here we go. Ashes to Ashes, David Bowie. Such an unusual start, isn't it? Always experimenting, always trying different things. Produced by Tony Visconti again. So many things about this song. You take this back to once you get past that first little section there, we just go back to here and just run through it together. There's some weird synthesizer sound there, isn't it? Beautiful. That little bling. And then there's someone hitting some sort of wooden thing in the background. The guitar's very light in the background. The lyrics in this are absolutely mad, by the way. We put this track on last night on Spotify, and we put the lyrics on just to remind ourselves what the lyrics were, because sometimes you mishear lyrics, sort of Peter Kay-esque, where you mishear them and you think, oh, it's this. But these lyrics, we just came to the conclusion that Ashes to Ashes is mostly about drugs. But it doesn't, apart from that, lyrically, does it fit together? Well, it don't matter, does it? Because there's plenty of songs that I like that lyrically don't make any sense to me. When I did the Sleep Token song Emergence, and you listen to those lyrics, they don't make any sense either, apart from elements of it. And sometimes it's only the elements of the lyrics that's all you need. And that backing vocal there, that it's just little production geniuses, Tony Visconti and David, so good. Ashes to ash and funk to funky, we know Major Tom's a junkie, strung out in heaven's high, hitting an all-time low. The Jam brought out a song called Start around this time, and I've just been reminded of it there with that. Obviously, Start had a higher beats per minute, but you're getting that stop and start guitar, which was what Start was. So, some interesting parallels there, I think. What's that? That's fantastic. It's great. So many little sounds in this. Just that section. There are so many little sounds in it. I love that. Just listen for it. I deliberately didn't put the video on for this because the video had its own sense of genius, actually. I didn't want to be distracted by it. I think sometimes songs get amplified by the video as well. And he paid just as much attention to the video with this particular track as he did for a lot of his songs. But actually, when I go back to Ashes and I listen to Ashes, do I think of the video? No, not really. I'd listen to the genius in somebody just having been in the music industry for so many years. I did hear a story going back to the middle 60s where a very young David Bowie, who wasn't called David Bowie at that point, tried to get into a jazz group in the mid 60s. And a friend of mine, his dad was playing in that jazz group, and they turned him down basically. And who knows, that might have been like a formative time for David, for him to go off and just continue to push boundaries. And, you know, he didn't have this sort of almost androgynous look that he morphed into different things, didn't he? In the 70s, he morphed into different things. He tried different things. He was the male chameleon before Madonna became the female chameleon in the 80s, where she continually reinvented herself. David continually reinvented himself in the 70s. And you didn't know what you were going to get. You didn't know you were going to get post-Berlin David, the swept back hair, the Ziggy Stardust David with the orange hair and the lightning bolt, to what we had, where I would call him Australia David, where he became, he had that bleach blonde hair from the era when he was doing China Girl, and that whole album, just he always changed. He always did some really weird things. The thing that scared me about him, and I should make the point about why David scared me, was that film that he was in the mid 70s, The Man Who Fell to Earth. Don't watch that. That still scares me now. That's a lovely section of the song, isn't it? Never did anything out of the blue. Ashes to ashes, funk to funky. We know Major Tom's a junkie, strung out in heaven's high, hitting an on-time road. Just occurred to me that the end of this song and some of the things that I love about bands like Sleep Token and people that go into like the repetition is that sometimes that works really, really well. I talked about this in one of my Sleep Token videos when I talked about Look to Windward, Will You Halt This Eclipse in Me? Which goes, it repeats and it repeats, and there's some other Sleep Token tracks where the lyrics are repeated, and this ending is repeated from here on in, and it works because it works to an end. You know, he could have stopped it right here. It's 3 minutes 37. He could just faded this out. But he didn't need to, because he just decided to use this particular method, if you like, to finish the track. That whole throwback to Space Oddity, Major Tom. We get that extra synth, which is really nice. So many clever people doing some clever stuff with synths around this time, wasn't there? The explosion of synths. And there it goes, just fading off into the background, Ashes to Ashes. An absolute music masterpiece, of which David had so many. I chose this one to be the first time that I would talk about David, because I felt that I think this one had the most influence on me growing up, in terms of really being awoken to music and the power of music, and how I could change my opinion of an individual, still think that they were a bit creepy, because when you're 13, 14 years old and you're seeing this guy who's hanging and, you know, like he does in the video, and then he's all dressed up and it's really weird and just very strange, and you're still finding your place in the world and trying to work out who you are. And this guy is doing this and dressed up like this, and it was just completely outlandish and out there for 1980. And all power to him. And, you know, years later you see him in comedy shows like I think in Extras with Ricky Gervais, and you see him send himself up and be this he had an incredible sense of humour, super intelligent guy, and very caring about the world as well. Always got that from David. You could tell that he really did think about things, about more than just, you know, his own backyard. He thought about things that were far, far bigger than him, and he used his stardom in a very, very good way, and affected so many people. And it's no coincidence that he's still influential even today, so many years after his passing. Wish he was still with us, still producing music, still giving us all of that stuff. But thank goodness we have what we do have, because there's lots of it. So thanks for enjoying Ashes to Ashes by David Bowie with me, and I'll see you in the next video. Take care.